Funny enough, I did almost try this set in Hobby's first store earlier this year. However, I got sucked into other IEMs that are interesting in there. Something like the Zigat Nuo, Hype 2, and the Red Sonus they have. They also have a pretty interesting hobby-related items in the store. But we are not talking about hobby first here. So let's get back to the matter at hand. Wow, it gets serious all of a sudden. The ISN Neo is actually my first IEM from ISN Audio. This unit is here courtesy of Mr. Harmoko, who got them for Mr. Chi Kong Hui and Penon Audio. Thank you Mr. Harmoko for lending me the ISN Neo 3. And thank you Mr. Chi Kong Hui and Penon Audio. Thank you for a lot of people who continue to support me. Anyways, the ISN Neo 3 is actually a unique set, as it is a hybrid with 3 drivers in them, hence the name Neo 3. The configuration is 2 dynamic drivers and a single Planar Driver. The unboxing experience is not Phoenix Call level, but the included case made out for it. I actually enjoy the case so much. The leather they use isn't sticky and feels of good quality. However, I am not sure if it is faux leather or real leather. Enough about the case. The Neo 3 came with 3 types of ear tips. The green middle part ones are wide bore and the orange ones are narrow bore. They also included a shirt clip and a cleaning tool. I am a little torn on the included cable, as the cable is supple and very malleable. However, at the same time, it feels a little too thin, even though it surely can be considered thick. I am also glad that they don't have ear hooks, but at the same time, I can't really tell how it should be oriented, which pin has which polarity, and the fact that the earbuds doesn't have marking on them to tell which one is which can also exaggerate the confusion when setting them up. However, if you have the Neo 3 or planning to get one, I think this is the correct orientation. ISN Audio logo is the left side, and the side that said Neo 3 is the right side. The cable itself is marked with left and right. The logo or the marking of each earbuds should be the same side as the L or R marking on the 2 pin. I hope that is the right way to set it up, but if I am wrong, please do let me know in the comment section. I was supposed to take some rest days. However, me being me, I end up lightly trying the Neo 3 while collecting some notes on them. I was chilling with just baby metal playing in the background. Funny enough, I actually fell asleep while listening to them. I got around an hour or 2 of sleep. I'm not really sure, as it is clearly my day off and I did not take many notes. All I can say is that the Neo 3 is definitely a comfortable set of IEMs. But we are getting sidetracked here. Let's go into the review. Like I've said, I chilled with some baby metal tracks. The setup was my portable setup, my Xiaomi Mi 9T, streaming Spotify in very high quality through the Acclaim PD4. A little note about the PD4. The PD4 has a brighter sound signature. I personally feel like the Neo 3 benefits more from a brighter leaning source. Switching to the PD4 Plus, which has warmer tone to them, make the treble feels further. With that, let's talk about the treble. The Neo 3 is surprisingly my first dark IEM in my opinion. I thought it would be worse, to be honest, but turns out it is not bad at all. You do lose some sparkle in the top end, like in cymbals or electric guitars, being less forward compared to something like the Phoenix Call or maybe the T4. However, compared to the Phoenix Call, the Neo 3 has a more natural timbre and has a better sound staging, as they feel wide with good enough imaging. I will get back to that in the perceived technicalities section. However, while having a slightly recessed mids, because of having a more V-tuning, in my opinion, the Neo 3 performs really well, as instruments and notes does feel full and has a lot of body on both percussions and vocals. I find the snare drums came off more natural than the Phoenix Call. While they are not as clear as forward as the T4 or maybe the Mega 5P Ultra, I don't seem to mind. Vocals tend to take a back seat with the Neo 3. This especially shows on the 10 Baby Metal Budokan Live. It feels like you are watching the concert from afar. However, this effect that's not always the same. I think for the case of 10 Baby Metal Budokan, since it is a live recording, it accentuates the feeling of less forward vocals. On something like Green Day's 21 Guns and Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child O' Mine, this does not really show that much. What really stands out for me is the bass. Both bass and mid-bass are equal with the Neo 3. I think it is perfect if you want more sub-bass from the Phoenix Call. The bass is surprisingly tight with good enough texture. The mid-bass does bleed little to the mids. But it is definitely not the worst offender, as it is not as common as you might think. On some recordings, it does come out a little boomy at times, but not always. I really enjoy songs from Valorant. Not sure why, but their hip-hop tracks sounds very good with the Neo 3. The bass thump of Renegade from 99 God and C103 sounds nice. Undefeated by XG is also nice with the Neo 3. I think the combination of Neo 3's sub-bass extension and slightly slow decay also helps boost the perceived white sound staging, which is in my opinion a part of perceived technicalities, which consists of sound staging, imaging, detail retrieval, and instrument separation. It is a highly subjective topic, and everyone seems to have a different opinion about them. In this part, I would like to share my opinion on the perceived technicalities of the Neo 3. The sound staging of the Neo 3 seems to be wide, almost as wide as the high senior Okavango I tried a while ago, without the much reverb and the addition of vertical spaces, in my opinion. The Neo 3 has surprisingly good sound staging and imaging. Perhaps it is not as good and as clear as something like the Volur or the Crimson, but it is something. The detail retrieval, however, since it is a darker sounding IEM, there aren't a lot of details to be picked up with the Neo 3. The instrument separation is just okay, as I feel like there aren't a lot of air due to the nature of being a darker sounding IEM and less treble extension. I did not really mind the darker leaning signature of this IEM. However, on some songs that I really like to have a sparkly and energetic vocals, losing some of that sparkle can get a little unsettling. I experienced this when I first listened to Omokage by Millet, Aimer, and Lilas Ikuta. With other less dark sets, the song sounds lively, especially with a more vocal-forward set. The synergy of all three singers is very pleasant to listen to. With this set, adding a bright-sounding DAC amp like the PD4 does work really well, giving a little extra clarity to the top end, and giving a little more sparkle to female vocals. Other than losing the sparkle in some female vocal tracks, dark-leaning IEMs tend to lose some of its details. This may come across as lacking in the technicalities department. But at the end of the day, technicalities aren't everything, and it all came down to your own preference. In my theory, the Neo 3 is darker leaning to avoid the tendencies of Planar Drivers sounding unnatural, and the Neo 3 delivers. Like I've mentioned in the previous section, the Neo 3 came out more natural compared to the Phoenix Call. The combination of good bass response, mid-bass and sub-bass, that is, the Neo 3 offers an impactful movie watching experience. I watched the final episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch. It was a beautiful ending for sure. The Neo 3 with deep sub-bass and good mid-bass gave me an immersive watching experience. If you like watching movies, the Neo 3 might be another strong candidate as they are also comfortable to wear. With that, let's now recap a bit. The ISN Neo 3 is the first IEM I reviewed from ISN Audio Company. The Neo 3 came with a pretty good number of accessories for the price. In this review, I paired the Neo 3 with a brighter leaning dongle DAC, the PD4, from Akliam. The ISN Neo 3 is a hybrid IEM with unique configuration, 2 dynamic drivers, and a single planar driver. The dynamic drivers are used to reproduce the bass and mid-range frequencies, while the planar is used to reproduce the treble frequencies. The Neo 3 may come off a little dark leaning, meaning it does lack a little bit of sparkle in the treble frequencies. However, compared to the Phoenix Call, which also has planar drivers, the Neo 3 came off a little more natural sounding, and I prefer this over the Phoenix Call. Compared to the T4 overall sounds tighter and brighter, but the Neo 3 has better sub-bass with wider perceived soundstage. The Neo 3 has good thumpy bass, although sometimes it can bleed to the mids, causing boomy bass. The Neo 3 and the T4 so far is my favorite IEMs in the under $200 market. As for rating, I'm honestly a little bit torn here. As for tonality, the Neo 3 is either an A or an A-, because of the lack of treble sparkle. However, at the same time, I don't really mind it that much. As for technicalities, the Neo 3 is a more relaxed IEM, and does not have the best technicalities in my opinion. So I gave them a B. That is it. My review of the Neo 3. Thank you Mr. Harmoko for lending them in for review. And thank you Mr. Chi Kong Hui for sending a unit to Mr. Harmoko. Like if you like the video, dislike if you dislike it. Got any suggestions, questions, or criticism? Leave a comment down below. Thank you all for watching. Trust your own ears and have a great day.